This is the front angle video that many say proves that Jonathan Ross, the ICE agent, was hit by Renee Good's car as she was trying to leave. It's important to them because they're trying to tell a story that says Renee Good gunned her car, aimed it at Jonathan Ross, and therefore Jonathan Ross had the right to defend himself. Now let me remind you, it's actually irrelevant if Jonathan Ross was hit by Renee Good's car. That's because by stepping in front of the car and trapping her, he has caused what is called officer-created jeopardy. You cannot jump in front of a car, shoot, and then claim self-defense, because the officer caused that situation, not Renee Good. But be that as it may, let's take a look at it because we want to find the truth no matter what it is. Let's jump in, I'll show it to you, and I'll break it down frame by frame. So here we go, here's the full video. Now there's actually more, but that's the important part. It's hard to watch every time, I have to say. Now here, this is Rebecca Good, Renee Good's wife, and she's running to the car. That's actually Jonathan Ross, and he has just shot her and is walking to the car. So let's scroll frame by frame. At the beginning here, we see Jonathan Ross walking. Watch the feet. He's still got a step to go. Now he's going to turn. You can see his arm is actually out here already, and he's about to draw. So right here, his arm is ready to draw his gun. Now you see the right hand start to emerge. And in a second, we're going to see a dark shape. That's the gun against this silver door. Right there. There's the gun. There's the hand. In his left hand is his phone. He's recording her right now. He's about to take a step back with his right foot to take a shooting stance. Now notice we do not yet see, this is Renee's car here. There's actually a fair bit of distance, look at all this, between him and her. She's this far back. And she's here between these two cars, so we can't totally tell exactly where she is. There's the right foot, shooting stance. Now, we're going to see his left foot start to move. See that? And now we see a little motion right here. It looks like this is the front of Renee's car. And you can see that the right hand with the gun is pointing. He's actually leaning in. You see the space? There is space between him and her, and his hand is out. You see the car move? Now, at this point, it actually looks like his hand is on the left front of the car, right above the light. That's going to be the light. We'll see in a second. Now, this is the point at which the car might have hit him. Notice a few things. He's still leaning forward. His right foot, his left foot is actually back here, and his hand is on the car. Notice that he could have jumped away, but he's actually leaning, and this is his head and his gun are entirely steady. Now, you see the left hand? It is right above the left front light. And his hand, though, is still steady. Look at this. So I'm going to go back. It does not change. What it looks like is he's got his left hand leaning. Look at his posture. It maybe has his weight on the car. And keep in mind that his phone is in his hand. But this stays steady. And he's actually rotating. His shoulder's going to come in. His hand's going to come in. And his shoulder's going to go that way. So he's actually rotating. See that turn? Now, that could be the car hit him. But there's a problem with video like this, which is you cannot judge the distance, and you cannot tell with all these pixels how far away exactly he is from the car. He could be right on top of the car, but not necessarily touching the car. And you see the hand is still there. His right hand is still there. And let's keep going. Now, what's happened is that he shifted. The car has pushed him back, and his left arm has come in. But you see his foot is going to go back. He's actually going to rotate this foot back. And so you're going to see that while this foot is pointed toward the car, this foot's going to be here pointing this way. So he's actually rotating. And notice that his head and the gun hand stay completely steady. Now, at this point, the car is starting to be past his right leg. Okay. And there, do you hear this? That's the shot. Okay. And his foot, you see how this foot is pointing this way? He's basically rotated his body from facing her to the body is facing this way, but he's still looking over here and shooting. And you see how close he is to the windshield. Let me play all that for you again. So you see this? You see his left hand go back. His body rotates. Was he hit? Maybe. Maybe not. He goes over this way. Now, here's my question. If he was hit, how does his head and his hand stay steady? In any case, if you're hit center mass, you're going to be knocked back. If you're going to be hit anywhere hard, I think it's very hard to keep your head and your hand steady. The other issue is this. If you hit the leg from the front, it'll break. From the side, it'll turn his knee and he'll buckle and he'll go down. So we know it did not hit his leg. It's likely, let's put it this way. What we're going to do is we're going to look at the other video to see if that confirms it. And then look at this. Tell me if you can tell if his body's rotating or whether he's hit by the car. Now, here you can see something. It looks like he actually pushes off the car with his left hand. You see that? You see the distance? See how this left arm extended while he's still shooting? Now, even if you look here, it looks like there's a little bit of distance. It looks possibly like he used his left hand to push himself off the car. And he fires. Notice how all of this stays steady. And in fact, notice how he could, at this point, simply jump out of the way. But he chooses to stay focused so that he can take the shot even though the car is coming at him. And he rotates. The car could have grazed him. I think that if the car had hit him, his body would go back or he would spin and he would not be able to take this first shot. Now let's say he's hit, but he can take a first shot. The question will then be, if he's been hit, can he take the next two? Let's look. Now, it looks like, you see how like there's a space that develops? It looks like he's actually pushing off the car and developing some distance. And then, now, the car is past him. His left hand is here. He's still aiming. You see how the head and the hand stay focused? Here's the shot. First shot. You can even see the white on the window, where it pierces the window and the broken glass gives you the white. So the problem with footage like this, when you have two objects that are facing the camera with one behind the other, you actually cannot tell what the distance is between the two. The reason we know this is that this is how all Hollywood movies are done. So you've seen a movie and there's a punch. When there's a punch, it goes like this. The thing is, you didn't actually hear a connection, right? If you had heard a connection, you would have heard a sound like that. Ouch. But what happens is that at a distance, the punch goes across and the actor reacts. That's the same problem with this video. You cannot tell how far apart the two are. Let's continue. He's taken the shot, and now the car is past him. And it looks like his feet are clear, easily clear of the car. And there's the second shot. And now it looks like he's got more distance. And then a third shot, almost from behind the car. So we have to remember at this point that technically he's out of danger. These two shots are completely unnecessary. There's a disturbing thought here, which is that Renee Good might have survived the first shot. That is speculation, we don't know. But she definitely would not survive the next two shots, which were directly to the head. And so maybe rather than asking whether Jonathan Ross was hit, we should really be asking, why did he take the last two shots? Only he knows. And there's always that nagging question, why didn't Jonathan Ross simply not take the shot? Why didn't he jump to safety? Because it actually didn't take him very long to be clear of the car. Remember that he is at the front, at the left front light. At that position, it is only a few feet to get to safety. And if you look at it, it didn't take him very long. I'm going to scroll. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Let's say 15 frames. This is a 30-second timeline. 15 frames means that that's half a second to jump clear of the car, which is actually something he did do. So why didn't Jonathan Ross jump to safety back here? It would have taken about half a second, maybe just slightly more. But it looks like he's actually waiting to take the shot. And I'm a bit afraid to say this, that he wants to take the shot, the most deadly, most accurate shot, right at the window. And he's waiting to be in position for that. I hate to say it, but that is a possibility. And then there's the final fact, which is that the car actually does swerve to the right, which confirms that the wheels were turned to the right and that Renee Good was trying to avoid Jonathan Ross. So was Jonathan Ross hit by Renee Good? It's possible, but I think it's more likely that he was grazed. Whatever it was something so light that he could maintain his stability in his arm, his head, and his feet and shoot. And in the end, we have to remember that this is also a narrative war. There are people that want to tell the story that Renee Good is the villain, the aggressor. But maybe we should really ask, why did Jonathan Ross even have to take the first shot, let alone the last two and final shots?